Hey everyone, how's it going? Azrin here, owner of the Calgary Language Nerds, and welcome to today's Learn Gujarati with Me YouTube video and, of course, podcast episode. In yesterday's video lesson, I was telling you that authentic Gujarati sounds really different than textbook Gujarati. And I was walking you through that. A lot of the content thus far on this YouTube channel and on this podcast really has been a simplified Gujarati. I have intentionally simplified Gujarati for you. I made it nice and easy, easy grammar, easy words, short sentences, follow the right grammar rules, right? But of course, when we talk in a authentic way, right? When we're talking on the street or talking to friends and family and all that, the Gujarati we use is a heck of a lot more slangy. Our dialects come into play, different accents come into play. We talk faster. There's a lot that really happens. And so today, by sheer coincidence, by sheer luck, on my YouTube algorithm, this video popped up. It had like 40 views. It's a lady who is teaching like a kindergarten class or something like that. And I was watching it and I was like, oh my God, this is the perfect video to show you guys on this YouTube channel and podcast, right? The lady talks in a very authentic kind of Gujarati. She's teaching a kindergarten class, right? Well, what I love about it is that it's quite repetitive. So she's kind of saying a lot of the same phrases over and over and over and over, right? So I'm gonna put a link to the episode to that the episode. I'm gonna put a link to that video in the episode description box. What we'll do today is I just want to walk you through the gist of what's going on, some of the words she uses, some of the phrases she uses, right? Just to help you really get into the flow. And then your homework after you watch this is go watch the video that I link in today's episode description box. That's going to be your homework today. Okay. So, but what she's doing in the video, as you'll see, is she is teaching young children the difference between sizes, like what's big, what's small, what's bigger, what's smaller. Like, she's teaching these kids that concept, right? So we're gonna have some words that we see. We're gonna see the word nana. Nana, you'll hear all the time, right? So she says something to the effect of these subtitles might be a little bit wrong because the audio quality is clear but a bit echoey. So sometimes it's a bit off, but it says Nana Motani Rambani che. Right? Nana, let's type that on the screen here. That's right near the beginning. Ni Rambani che. Right? And there's kind of a missing word in here, frankly. The missing word is something probably like a game, right? Like Nana Motani, what's game in Gujarati? Um, Ramat, I think it is. I can't remember the word for game off the top of my head right now. I think it's Ramat, but that's okay. Anyway, Nana Motani Maniche. So we're gonna play the big small game, right? Nana Motani Maniche. So we are going to play this game, right? Again, we drop the ame or the apne, right? She hasn't said ame, right? Or apne. She hasn't said that, right? We do that all the time in Gujarati when we talk. We drop our subject pronouns. We talked about that in yesterday's lesson, right? Um, Ramvani is a future tense, which we haven't talked a lot about. We haven't really seen it very much, frankly, in recent lessons. I'll give you a crash course now, right? Like pretty much what we do is we put vano or vani or vana at the end of a verb. So like um I don't know, I'm gonna talk. Hu bol vano chu, right? And hu bol vano chu. I'm going to write something. Hu kaink lakvano chu, right? Lakvano chu, right? It's vano because I'm a boy, right? I'm a boy, and that's that. So if I were a girl, I might say hu bol vani chu, hu bol vani chu. I'm going to talk. There's another future tense which we have talked about on this channel, on this YouTube channel, on the podcast, which is using like is, hu karis, hu khais, hu bolis, right? But this is just this Vani tense, Vano, it's just another form of that future tense. Again, we're not going to get too much into it today, but just a little brief introduction. Okay, back over here. So Nana Motani Rambani che. Okay, so then she kind of says, let's kind of go ahead a little bit here. Um, she says this a lot, right? So she says this quite frequently, something to the effect of someone's name. There's like a Bansi, there's Sanjay, there's a bunch of kids' names, a whole bunch of them. I'm trying to remember from the video when I watched it, right? Tarama Nanu kon che, ne motu kon che, right? Tarama Nanu Nanu kon che, ne motu kon che, right? So in this video, you're going to see kids that are sitting in pairs, right? And you'll see the word for pairs in a moment, actually. So they're sitting in groups of two, they're sitting in pairs, and she kind of goes person by person, and she kind of asks people like, Tara ma, in your group, Tara group ma, Tara, we'll see the word for pair in a moment, right? Tara group ma, right? Nanu kon che, who's smaller, right? Who's small? Ane motu kon che, who's big, right? Who's small in your group and who's big? Nanu kon che, and motu kon che, right? Um, we're not going to read everything. Let's skip ahead here. Um, let's read ahead a little bit here. Right, she tells him to speak up at one point. Right, says chalo jorthi boljo. Right, jorthi boljo. Let me write that on the screen here. Jorthi means like loudly. Right, jorthi boljo. Right, it's like, yeah, speak loudly, right? Boljo, by the way, that jo ending, like jo, kajo, boljo, garjo, it's kind of like it's a polite command. Like I'm commanding you to do it, but politely, right? So she's telling the class, right, as a whole, or the kids as a whole, like jorti boljo, like speak a bit more like loudly, right? So it's not like a rude command, it's a polite command. So you can do that with any verb, boljo, tajo, pijo, lakjo, so on and so forth. If you're doing it in the informal, right? So jo ending is for the plural and for formal. But if you want to make it informal and singular, we say je, jorti bolje. So if you're talking to one child, jorti bolje. Make sure you talk loud, right? So yeah, so she says that near the beginning of the video. Let's fast forward a little bit here, right? Anything else that's kind of worth pointing out? Right, again, tarama konache nanu, right? Who's small in your group, right? Let's keep going forward a little bit here. Again, we're not going to go through all the words. That's actually very, very repetitive. So again, she says it again. Tarama nanu motu kon che, right? Nanu motu kon che, kon nanu che, kon motu che, right? Who's big, who's small, right? I'm just going to read Kim's reading here to see if there's anything else that is worth pointing out. Then she says, kind of like in maybe 20% through the video, she says this. Nano, so he's small, right? Nano kem che? Kem nano che, right? Tu motoj kem che? Why are you big, right? Like remember, she's teaching kids, right? So kem tu moto che? Kem tu moto che? Like why are you big? Kem tu nano che? Like what makes you big? What makes you small, right? So she's kind of like explaining like what is this? What does it mean, the concept of big and small, right? Then she says height ma. Height is height, obviously. The word for height in Gujarati, as you can see, is uchai, right? And you'll see her hand kind of go up. She even like demonstrates it. Uchai ma, right? Let me type that on the screen here. Right? There's kind of a mindu there. It makes it a bit nasal. Unchai ma. So in height, unchai mai kona moto che, right? In your height, right? Kona mota che, kona moto che, right? And she kind of stands up these two kids, and you can see them like comparing the height, right? So there's that. It's really cool to watch this video. You'll see it's like a really different kind of a classroom than what you'd see in Canada or US. It's a very different style of classroom. Even the way you'll see that the way that the teacher is kind of managing the class as well is not like it's very different from Western classrooms, quote unquote. So that's pretty interesting just to see. Okay, let's fast forward a little bit. Right, she'll say this a lot, right? She'll say, you'll see the word jodi a lot. You'll hear that a lot, jodi, right? Jodi is the word for like a pair or a grouping. So in your pair, right? Who's the bigger one? Who's the smaller one, right? You'll also hear her say a lot, ke nana lage, ke mota lage. Lage is like it seems. Ke moto lage che. He seems bigger. E nano lage che. He seems smaller, rather, seems small, right? એ moto લાગે છે, nano લાગે છે, right? એ નાની લાગે છે. Right? Again, as a quick reminder, this is pretty basic if you're already at this lesson here, but as a reminder, right? Nano, anything with an O is masculine. So nano is small for a boy. Nani is small for a girl, right? Moto is big for a boy. Moti is big for a girl, right? So masculine, feminine. That's pretty straightforward. You should know that at this point in these videos, but always nice to do a reminder. Let's fast forward a little more here. Anything else I want to point out here? Right. So then the thing switches, right? So first she's having the kids compare themselves to each other, right? So you'll notice that when you watch the video, that she's kind of saying like, okay, like in your pairing, right? Dari jodi, right? Where it goes, jodi here. There's no jodi here, right? But she'll say in your jodi, in your pairing, right? Who's moto, who's nano, right? And she'll be asking that. But then she switches. There's a bunch of objects in the middle of this circle, right? And then she'll say, તો આ નાની મોટી વસ્તુ છે. That might be incorrect subtitles actually. તો આ નાની મોટી વસ્તુ છે, or even maybe like શું છે, આ નાની મોટી વસ્તુ શું છે. These big and small things. આ નાની મોટી વસ્તુ શું છે. She also has a to. To is a very common word. It's kind of a filler word, just like to, right? And it's that flat T against your teeth, by the way, the one where you bite your teeth, right? To is a filler word you can put pretty much anywhere. It's like so, something like that. So it's a filler word you can put anywhere in Gujarati. So to a nani moti vastu શું છે, right? Vastu is the word for thing or things even. So then she starts to get kids to come up. They grab some different objects and they start to compare how big, which one's big, which one's small, right? So they pick up, for example, let's have a look here. Jodi, again, that's the word for pair that I told you earlier. Let's see here what they pick up. Let's see here. Oops. They pay. I'll just go off memory. Oh, here we go, right here. Right, they pick up a glass, right? So she says like, તારા હાથમાં કયો ગ્લાસ છે, right? કયો ગ્લાસ છે, મોટો ગ્લાસ છે કે નાનો ગ્લાસ છે, right? તારા હાથમાં કયો ગ્લાસ છે. Glass is a glass, like what you drink water out of, right? તારા હાથમાં કયો ગ્લાસ છે. So in your hand, right? What glass do you have? કયો ગ્લાસ છે હાથમાં. મોટો ગ્લાસ છે કે નાનો ગ્લાસ છે, right? And the kids all answer, of course, right? Right, it says, Sanjay, તારા હાથમાં કયો glass છે, right? Sanjay, in your hand, which glass do you have, right? Very, very simple Gujarati here, right? Then he says, moto glass છે, right? What else here? And then she'll ask the whole class, તો આ glass કેવો છે? How is this glass? Is it a big glass, small glass? And the class says, moto glass છે, right? Very, very cute, by the way. Let's see, any other things worth, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Like you're just going to see her ask them the sizes of stuff, like over and over and over and over. One word you'll see a lot, I'll actually circle it down here. You'll hear this quite frequently. It's fast, but it does happen a lot, right? Kevro, right? So kevro glass, the kevro whatever, right? Kevro is pretty much the same as kevo, right? Kevro and kevo, how, or like, yeah, how pretty much the same meaning. Kevro and kevo, same thing, just more of a dialectal kind of difference, I suppose. Regional difference or something to that effect. I think that's pretty much. Let's kind of like look through here. Let me scan this quickly. Again, pretty straightforward stuff here. You'll understand this. Couple of colors we'll see, right? So pira, excuse me. Right, piro is the word for yellow. We have a whole lesson on colors on this YouTube channel, so that's pretty straightforward, right? So she says, pila karno yeah, so she says, for example, આમાં પીળા કલરનો છે એ કેવો છે. So this yellow one, આ પીળા કલરનો એ છે કેવો છે, right? How is that? Is it the big one? Is the yellow one a big one or small one, right? Then the class goes moto. Then the lady says, અને કાળા કલરનો, right? અને કાળા કલરનો, and the class goes nano. The black one is small. Yay, right? Okay. Anything else here? I mean, there's a lot we can go through, but this is pretty much the Yeah, it's pretty much straightforward. I mean, you should get the gist of it for sure. Like now that you've got that, you'll kind of get the gist of what's happening. I'll quickly scan in case there's anything else I want to point out, but I think should be okay, right? They use the word for ring, right? Gor ring, ring for like a ring, right? Easy peasy. And yeah, I think that's a good place to wrap today up. So again, I highly recommend you go watch it. It's a cute video. It's not like easy to understand, but the language is very repetitive. I would encourage you if you really want to get like super into it, like every time she asks the class something, you actually answer the question too. Like answer along with the kids. It'll be fun. Okay. Cool. Well, let's wrap up there. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day and enjoy the video in the episode description box. Aujo. Bye.